Hello and welcome to this pit stop for Hunt for the Ring Part 2. A game designed by Maggi, Gabriele and Francesco Nepitello, published by Ares Games for 2 to 5 players. Now for the Part 1 rules, please find our video we released a couple of days ago. That was where the ring bearer player led Frodo from the Shire to Bree. We're going to concentrate on Part 2, where the ring bearer player is going to lead Frodo from Bree to Rivendell, or more accurately protect them with Gandalf while the game leads Frodo. So at the beginning of part 2, the ring bearer player is going to choose either a short or a long journey for Frodo, which involves 14 or 16 moves, with the longer journey having a higher corruption limit for Frodo. And then Frodo's just going to move automatically, being led by Strider, who's a new companion in the game. Frodo will go through these different locations, and whenever we want to check Frodo's location, we simply look at the turn marker, and then we look and see where Frodo will be at that particular time. It's Gandalf that the player is actually going to control, and they're going to be writing down each turn, similarly to how they do with Frodo in the first half, where Gandalf is, but Gandalf moves quickly and is only ever in numbered spaces and never stops in these dots we can see on the cards and on the board. The presence of Gandalf is going to confuse the Nazgul players and affect some of their actions to some degree. For example, a perception action whereby the Nazgul check whether Frodo is in a particular section or area of the board. Now, the ring bearer player only has to answer yes if Gandalf and or Frodo are in that particular area that's been looked for, unless the Nazgul player has got the Lord of Nazgul in play and their snazzy die and that particular die result. The free search action works the same as it did. Gandalf is never revealed, doesn't leave any tracks, but for Frodo, if you look in a space, if they've been through there, you'll still start to find their tracks. The hunt action, now if Frodo's by themselves in the space where the hunt action is taking place, it works exactly the same as the first half. For each Nazgul in that space or adjacent, or for the Lord of the Nazgul twice, you're going to have to draw some corruption tiles. But in part 2, there are some extra nasty ones added in there, and you retain the eye tiles and the sorcery card if played, which will add to the corruption you get for every eye tile as per the first half. However, if the Lord of the Nazgul ever does take place in the hunt, he goes off to report and will be replaced by a normal Nazgul until you play something to bring him into play again. If Gandalf is in the space being hunted, whether Frodo is there or not, only Gandalf is revealed. Gandalf is then forced to flee under those circumstances, and you draw a Gandalf deed token, flip it over, and that's where Gandalf appears, although you do not show this to the Nazgul players, but you must start your journey again from that particular space. If Frodo is caught, you're faced with a choice. And you can either continue along the same path that you've been on, but the Nazgul know where you are and may well harry you, usually only done if you're very close to the end. Instead of that, you can push the movement marker back up one space and then draw a card from the deck of either the short or long journeys again and go along a different path. Striders run off through the wilderness with you and you're going along, and all of these search tokens will be taken off the board, and the Nazgul will have to hunt you down again in an attempt to corrupt you up to your limit, again of either 12 or 14 depending upon how far you've gone. And that's not the only way that Gandalf is going to be revealed on the board. On a player's turn, they may spend one of these fellowship tokens, which are used to fuel some of the powers of the companions and ally cards and what have you, and Gandalf can be revealed onto the board. When Gandalf comes into a space, they force Nazgul to flee up to 2 spaces away, and no Nazgul on this particular turn may go through there, search there, hunt there, or any of the other things. Gandalf is then going to come off at the end of that turn, and instead of just drawing 1, you get to draw 2 Gandalf deed tokens and choose where he's going to start his journey from again. There's another function to these Gandalf deed tokens. At the beginning of this part 2, the ring bearer player is going to draw 3 off them secretly, and they're going to have locations, it's all these named locations. At any time that they have moved Gandalf to one of those 3 locations, they may declare it. For example, in this case, they may say, yes, Gandalf is at the Weather Hills, and they reveal this particular Gandalf deed token. So the Nazgul all know where Gandalf is, but the reason this is handy is that this will go next to the corruption track, and Frodo's tolerance for corruption has just been increased by 1. That can happen a maximum of 3 times in the game, and there's one more thing you can do with Gandalf. If at any point you've moved Gandalf to A, B or C within Rivendell, you can say Gandalf is in Rivendell staying there, and Gandalf goes next to the corruption track, and that is one more corruption Frodo may take without losing the game. Frodo also has a deck of ally cards to help them out, similar to the first half, but all completely different cards, where they can blind the Nazgul to the world light and remove some of their dice, or use Athelas to heal some of their corruption, or Bill the Pony will let you move at night without taking corruption. You can bring Elrond's sons Elladan and Elrohir into play, or Glorfindel, and they will be, as before, blocking ally tokens which the Nazgul cannot move through. This part 2 is going to end either with Frodo taking corruption above whatever their corruption limit is now, down to the actions of Gandalf, or Frodo moving there 14 or 16 times and making it all the way to Rivendell without being corrupted, and that will be a win for the Ring Bearer game. And that's not entirely the end of the story, because depending upon whether the Nazgul or the Ring Bearer has done better in the game, you get these action tokens which can be used in War of the Ring to continue the story into another third chapter. This has been a pit stop for part 2 of Hunt for the Ring. For more videos like this, please check out the Game Pit channel on YouTube, and for more in-depth coverage of gaming, please find the Game Pit podcast. Thanks.